on SB Nation Radio. Join Mike and Matt as they talk about everything going on in the world of cars. To get more content on your favorite team, you can check out our friends at SBNation.com. They have team-specific sites to fit your needs, whether it's basketball, baseball, NFL, or the school you graduated from. SB Nation has you covered.
Game time decisions.
What's up, everybody? I am Gabriel Morency, inviting you to join me and the Raging Redhead, Cam Stewart, weekdays at 6 Eastern on SB Nation Radio. No games, no problem. The countdown is on. Sports will be back. There are games being played right now in China. We've got German soccer.
What up, Home Fries? You were talking?
Right.
You stopped.
Okay, 6 o'clock, SB Nation Radio.
With Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart. Weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. Into the night.
Here with Phil Simms into the night. All right, Phil. Where's the 30 for 30 on Phil Simms and Bill Parcells?
The whole Parcells era with the Giants.
Exactly.
Fascinating.
How can that not be a 30 for 30, Bill?
Well, one, it's a new world or an old world back then, so there's not video much of anything, and especially our interactions during practice. So his favorite, I always say this, played under Bill Parcells for 8 years. Of course, we had great success. And when he retired, I had to come home and check my birth certificate to see.
Cool. Do you have both of their numbers?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Jared.
I feel like you might. You've had Jared
sent it to me, but the only problem is that whenever you send it to me, you only send me the number. You don't send me the name.
I don't tell you who. Right. Okay, that makes sense.
So I have a bunch of numbers.
That makes sense.
I go, what? Excuse me, what'd you say?
Okay.
He goes, that fast. I said,
He's the one. Is he the one with the Google Voice number?
He is.
Okay, so I have that one.
Okay.
Unless he's not wanting us to call that today. But yeah, Jabari Davis, I don't have.
Former MLB All-Star, a two-time World Series champion, and a dad of 8, the great Johnny Damon joining us now. You were in the movie Fever Pitch, so there's a very funny line in the movie where a fan yells out that Johnny Damon has the nicest rear end in the league.
People still ask me about my rear end, and it's still pretty good, guys. Just ask my wife. I mean, we have 8 kids.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Set your system's volume control for slightly above the normal listening level.
Let's go. Second level thinking is defined as looking beyond the easy, obvious conclusions.
You got to do some smart thinking.
Welcome to the second level. A Gal Media property in partnership with Jacob Media, where we go beyond the box score. Presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage is with you every step of the way. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's your host, Eitan Shander.
I saw the most absurd press release, and I'm happy other people have picked up on this as well. This is where we are, and I don't say this as this is where we are now with sports. I say this is where we are with sports right now. I'll take anything. And on a Friday, I'm not going to hit you over the head with a hammer. I'm sorry. The Bubba Wallace story is come and gone. We'll see if in fact, NASCAR gets a bump or not from ratings and from a betting standpoint, because those are two major gauges in our world, right? Major League Baseball is back, so we don't have to talk about it now until it physically comes back. 16 of the 302 NBA players have tested positive. There are areas around the country right now that are reversing the reopening to now reclosing phase. So we've got so many things that caused us initially to be a distraction for you when everything went down that I kind of come into this one of two ways. I mean, this could be a really serious show in which we talk about the ramifications of an FBI and NASCAR investigation that could not conclude the obvious, that a noose was shaped in that form over the weekend, way past the year ago in which somebody else had that garage pre-Sunday. Hit you over the head with the latest doctor episode I did on my YouTube and Philly Voice column that is not good and really breaks down a lot of the violators around the country. The data that's come out in Arizona hits you over the head with how bad really Twitter has been leading the campaigns of misinformation and just posturing whether or not the NFL is going to start on time. So I've decided I'm not going to do any of that. We've got 2 hours, all right? I can't change the world in 2. You give me another hour maybe, but I'm not going to infringe on the show before me or after me. I wouldn't do that. Both shows are better anyway. We're going to have some fun. We're going to play a game that I have created in my head. I'm going to need the help for Ron Culver. I'm going to need some parenting advice from Ron as well. A lot of things happening this hour.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
The following is a message from PGIM.
Welcome to Outsea in 60, Perspectives from PGIM Thought Leaders. Here's Mark Baribeau, the head of global equity at Jennison Associates.
You're looking at bigger implications of technology playing a role in keeping us all connected, giving us access to information or goods very quickly. So we don't see any of those trends changing. In fact, they're likely to accelerate. There's some new things that have come along, though, that people might find useful, like telemedicine. There were skeptics about that, and I think the more people using it, especially the more doctors are using it today, the more they're liking it. You can see more patients. It can be more effective. It might actually be a better solution.
Hear more PGIM perspectives at pgim.com. That's pgim.com. Partner with PGIM, the investment management business of Prudential. These statements are not intended to be investment advice and should not be used as the basis for any investment decision.
My name is Megan Eddings, founder and CEO of Excel Lifestyle.
Isn't that what that commercial
wearing
is
a face
to give,
mask
is
drastically
advice?
reduces the spread of the coronavirus. Excel Lifestyle's Prima antibacterial face masks are soft, washable, and double layer for added protection. To purchase you and your loved one's face mask, please go to excellifestyle.com. That's ACCEL lifestyle.com. Once we receive your order, we will ship your masks out immediately. Thank you and stay safe.
You're going on a trip, but where are you going to stay? How much will it cost? Well, it'll cost less by booking on besthotelrates.com. BestHotelRates.com works with all the top hotels in the country while delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to BestHotelRates.com, enter your email address, and start shopping for your next hotel room. BestHotelRates.com, it's in the name. BestHotelRates.com.
Kane is in the building.
Scratching beneath the surface. It's the second level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
So I'm looking on screen right now, and it says Xander has 6 top 3 finishes on the tour since the beginning of the 2019 Masters without a win. And you could look at that one of 2 ways, right? That he's just a baby shark waiting to grow into an older Norman, or he's just about due. And since I placed this bet earlier, I was paying attention to it as much as I could. live and trying to find some value. Xander has bumped up. Now he's 2 under through the day, 9 under overall through 14, and only trailing Mackenzie Hughes, who is yet to tee off. He'll tee off at 1:40 Eastern time. So Xander, Will Gordon, Sung Kang, Victor Hovland, Kevin Streelman, just as you dialed it up, right? Now, to be fair, Rory hasn't teed off. He'll tee off just before we get off the air, right around 1 for the road. Rory will be teeing off. He'll start the day at 7 under, which right now, again, is good enough for 3 off the lead. But I mentioned Xander because this thing happened to me week 1 when this whole tournament and the PGA Tour came back, where he was just hovering day 2. And he was, I think, 2 strokes off the lead, but you saw Berger, you saw Morikawa, and Xander, kind of those 3 guys. Every now and again, another name would kind of pump up on that radar. But for the most part, on Friday, you kind of had those guys in the meat of it. So logic to me dictated, well, he's got the stronger mentality, you see, and that's one of them of the 6 top 3 finishes that he's had so far since 2019, which is not long ago. So week 1, that was the bet. Friday was to take Xander in match, in round right there, and hope that he could just hang around. Did not anticipate, of course, him blowing that putt on the 71st hole, preventing him from being in a playoff, which I still maintain to the day he would have won if he was in there. So why not? Let's do it all again. This was earlier. Xander was not even 1 under at the time. He was 7 under. And early on in the round, looking at the value I got for him, thinking, all right, if he has a push today, that's all I really need is the push, and he'll be around. And that number, I think, would dictate it. So I got in today live at 750, plus 750 for Xander to win this thing. But if you look at it right now, it hasn't dropped that significant at all. It's at plus 600. Rory is still the leader because it's Rory, even though he'll start most likely 3 down off the lead unless Xander can make something happen in the next 3 or 4 holes. But even Bryson, who kind of fell back a little bit, is out there at plus 700. So I am looking specifically at Xander here and playing that same mentality that kept the bet alive. The value was through the roof 2 weeks ago, and at 750, even down here at 600, that's not anything that you'd want to stray away from. I think you wouldn't use that and say, all right, well, that's not enough value. Xander 1 off the lead right now through 14 at minus 600 or plus, 600 is pretty damn good value. Now, the risk here would be Bryson. You're getting him at plus 700, but remember, he finished 5 under yesterday, and while he'll tee off an hour and a half from now, that might be a pretty big hole for him. So if you're looking at any of these bigger names that you were trying to jump on, Mackenzie Hughes at plus 1,200, you think, can he hang on? I mean, that's really it. Does he have the mental fortitude to not implode? See what the odds are on Will Gordon. Will Gordon, not to be confused with Flash Gordon, not to be confused with the Flash, is sitting at plus 3,500. Now, why the heck not, right? You got a dime on Will Gordon right now. That's going to get you 360 back. All right? We wipe our hands clean. We take Will Gordon live. He's through 9. He's 1 off the lead. Who the heck? He shot 66 yesterday, 5 under for the day today. Could be one of those situations where he just pops up. He shot up from 15th to 2nd right now. At Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show, 800-224-2004 is your phone number. And I give that out because I tweet a lot. I tweet a lot about serious stuff, sports and non-sports stuff. And I always encourage people, because Twitter is just a hotbed of misinformation on purpose, mind you, because they maintain and facilitate the bots. So we give you an opportunity to talk about anything, even if it's something that we brought up on social, as the show never stops. Now, this press release from the NBA 2K is something else. Before that, though, here's where we stand right now in sports. Not on the things happening as I gave you the live leaderboard update, and that's really the big thing from a watch/betting standpoint right this second. But everywhere else, it's just typical 2020. Malcolm Jenkins is concerned that the bubble wouldn't work even if they implemented a bubble, even though the NFL isn't thinking of implementing a bubble. So now you're 3 layers removed from reality, going back and forth on whether or not something can exist. Turns out that it actually was a noose fashioned that way on purpose, as it was done over the weekend, according to the report, pre-Bubba Wallace and his team coming into the garage, post whoever was in it last year. So even more back and forth, and a lot of people, I'm sure, trying to go back and scrub some tweets from their timeline. We also have the NBA, where the latest now is 16 of 302 players have tested positive. And the reaction to what should happen. If, in fact, the NBA should stop. If, in fact, the NBA should not move on and begin their season in Orlando as planned. 16 of the 302, that's all I get. That's all I've seen. I haven't seen anything more as far as the severity of these cases. I haven't seen anything along those lines. And it stands to reason that if you're, and I mean you, the NBA, is truly implementing a bubble, that even friends and family who qualify, I guess, family, immediate family who qualify in that tier, that if you come into the bubble negative, you should leave the bubble negative. So staying at home and quarantining, you still have time right now. The NBA still has time before this thing starts. A lot of stuff, it just piles on. And oh, by the way, the country is most likely going to, at the very least, halt any continuing reopenings, and at worst, put everybody in areas back inside their houses and continue to limit and restrict as we move on. So the world and the world of sports, as we constantly demand sports to return, hasn't given us much. The NFL is really the only one outside of Malcolm Jenkins and other players who I'm sure rightfully so don't want to leave their families for an extended period of time to entertain the idea of a bubble. I wouldn't fault Malcolm or anybody for that, especially anybody who's living with someone who's at risk, higher risk. I do love the NFL's plan of action here, though, which is teams are going to be required to tarp the first 6 to 8 rows of their stadiums. Some of this, or at least the guys, the surface is so they can maintain social distancing. But the NFL never misses a second. If you could look at what a moment would be, it's a second, and the NFL never misses one. Because NFL owners have now approved this plan that they can advertise the tarp. So while the teams will have to tarp the first 6 to 8 rows, you're going to have advertisements sold throughout the tarps to help get back money, recoup money. I'm not saying it's a bad deal. I think it's a genius idea. I do. It's just something that the NFL seems to be the first league to do this. We've had some pretty cool ideas come out of the quarantine. That Danish soccer league did the Zoom-in game where you can sit at home and be part of this huge Zoom call, pay some money for a ticket, and that ticket gets you access like you've never seen since you're at home. And it's a two-way where the players can see and react and cheer, and you can react and scream and cheer them on as well. So we've seen innovation from fake crowd noise to sex dolls to that same league replacing the dolls with stuffed animals. A bunch of different solutions to keep the crowd somewhat there. Now, credit the PGA. That's the one that's just been like, all right. And UFC, to be fair, really started this thing where the natural sound was so much better than hearing idiots yell and scream in an arena. Hearing bone on bone is something I would not think I'd hear outside of like the playground as a kid. That was beyond simply entertaining. That was thrilling. Awesome to hear that and see it juxtaposed with people getting their butts kicked. But this is a genius idea, and I'm surprised other leagues haven't immediately fallen in place here, followed suit, if you will. Why wouldn't the NBA? Why wouldn't hockey? Now, we're waiting the Hub City announcements. Matt Peralt told you, I think, a month and a half ago it was going to be Vegas, East Coast as well. We'll see. But why wouldn't Major League Baseball, the NBA, hockey? I don't care if you're an individual sport, tennis, anything. Right now, if you're the UFC, think about it. Any place where you have seats can be put on a tarp, right? Any place at all. You could tarp over that sucker and just space it out. And since you're a major sports league, it's not like you're going to be hard-pressed to find clientele. It's awesome. Yeah, jcross_33 on Twitch, twitch.tv/Shander Show. I want to hear the trash talk. Me too. I can't wait for that. And that's why Deshaun's idea was fantastic. And anybody else, we see this now in golf. Now, there's no trash talk. They're just trash talking themselves. A couple of bleep bombs out there. But yes, Jay Cross, I agree with you that there is nothing better than raw, natural audio, sound like that from games when you get it. And even when you know somebody is mic'd up, it kind of takes away from it a little bit, right? Because everybody knows that, oh, man, he's mic'd up. Okay. They got Von Miller mic'd up. So Von knows he's mic'd up. His teammates know he's mic'd up. Everybody knows he's coaches. They all know he's mic'd up. And you're telling me that nobody plays to the camera? It's human nature to play to the camera. Oh, man, I found something, a wealth. It is a fountain of youth. I've saved so much money. And I'm going to explain it because I don't know if there are a lot of people out there that have caught on to this. So I'll explain that next. I have an idea for a game. So, of course, I haven't even mentioned it to Ron off the air. We'll talk our way through that coming up next as well. Jabari Davis is going to join us as we see news with the NBA. What does it mean? Big picture. He also has a fantastic podcast with Josh Eberly, and they talk so much TV and movies that we'll have to, you know what? We'll have to repurpose that awful Rotten Tomatoes bracket just to ruin Jabari's day. All coming up this hour on the Second Level.
Wake up call. The Carolina Panthers held a poll on Twitter asking the fans who the GOAT of the franchise has been.
And they said...
You ready for the choices?
Yeah.
Julius Peppers.
Steve Smith.
Luke
Kuechly.
That's it. I'm done.
That's it? Really?
Are you noticing a glaring omission?
I know, right? Really?
Well, I think the only MVP they've ever had.
I know. A guy who's still looking for a job.
Number 1 overall pick who actually lived up to the hype.
He was the franchise face. Cam Newton was 15-1 MVP led them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, not good enough to make their GOAT list. You know, I'm not going to take anything away from Julius Peppers, Steve Smith, Luke Kuechly. All fine players.
He's at least put Cam Newton in a poll of the greatest players of the franchise history. Come on, Carolina. Stop it.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings.
Hey, everybody. RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com, your home for the best Dallas Cowboys coverage on the web. And did you know that we have a podcast feed? The Blogging the Boys podcast feed has daily episodes breaking down the latest and greatest in the world of America's team. We have multiple shows, multiple analysts, including a Super Bowl winner. 2-time Super Bowl champion Tony Casillas is part of our rotation, and we want to make sure you are as well. We're available on Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. So don't miss out. Subscribe to the Blogging the Boys podcast feed today.
The Jake Asman Show.
I woke up optimistic. I woke up excited. I was going to make bacon for the first time in my life. Recently, during my furlough, I learned how to scramble eggs. Now, you might laugh at me. Just learned how to scramble eggs? Yes, I was a late bloomer on the eggs. But I know how to do it at an elite level now. So every morning as I get up and prep for this show, I make some scrambled eggs. Well, I was going to make bacon. The eggs were great. Eggs were done. I put the bacon on the pan. I'm like, yeah, I've got some time. I'll play around. I'll make some bacon. Then I said to myself, you know what? Let me go and get dressed for work. I'll eat the bacon, then I'll go. I had totally forgotten that I left the bacon on the frying pan. I come back and I go, oh my God. My apartment smells like it's on fire. Not only was this bacon burnt, it was not edible. It was absolutely decimated. And I dropped the ball. I failed.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern. Pharrell.
The Cowboys want to make Dak the second highest paid quarterback in the league. Dak wants to make the most money. Essentially, every guy in the league that's a quarterback's making somewhere between 25 and 35 million. Aren't they all making fat money? And aren't they all the eventual demise? These contracts with quarterbacks, the demise of football teams. When you have to pay one guy that much money, it breaks up the team.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. You're listening to The Second Level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, with way more than the scores, here's Eitan Shander.
So I am actually going to be married in July. It's just going to be a very small ceremony. Then we'll have the big one the following year when everything should be somewhat back to normal. So I am not anywhere near the point in a marriage where this would be laughed at in a positive way and applauded, and men and women, because I'm sure that this is not specific to anyone's gender by any means, but anybody involved in a marriage would look at what Dave Clawson is about to do and think, you know, how come I didn't think of that? How come I didn't use my job as some way to socially distance myself from my partner for a year? Well, that's exactly what he's doing. Now, to be fair, there is a reason why in which his wife is higher at risk, but the Wake Forest coach, and I think this speaks volumes to what, like Malcolm Jenkins said, couldn't happen, needs to happen. So, yes, you can make all the marriage jokes you want, which is, oh, he's going to be isolating himself from his wife for the entire season. But the reality is A, there are medical reasons behind it. And also, that's the way in which you can begin to form a bubble. And it was the problem the NBA raised, its own problems, of course, saying that certain people will be isolated in the bubble, certain people won't be. Well, that's not a bubble. It's like wearing a mask below your nose. It's a chin strap. That's not a mask. So this is the first step for a football team in which you truly would have to get to that point of isolation. And you would have to isolate everybody. You would have to isolate trainers, and you would have to isolate assistant coaches, and you would have to isolate a guy who probably would never play more than 3 or 4 snaps all season. Anybody who comes into contact with anybody else who's out there on the field, yes. But it's difficult, and people don't want to do that, and I understand it. Trust me, I get it. But it doesn't take away from it being a possibility. I wouldn't fault Malcolm Jenkins like I wouldn't fault Dave Clawson for saying, what? I'm not staying away from my wife. I'm not staying away from my family, my kids for 6 months in a bubble in a television show. Not at all. I, on the other hand, am going to stay home and be with them. Now, that's what I think you really take away from this, which is how difficult it will be for any league to really pull from it. All right. Now, I mentioned I had this game. Ron, you're with us, correct? Just make sure that Sean.
I'm in person.
I want to make sure that Sean isn't there as well.
Sean's here too.
Oh, good. We love Sean. I just want to make sure that I'm not calling for you and Sean says
he didn't hear that, so don't worry about it. You don't have to flatter him.
Just like Asman before, and maybe it's you holding a button down. Are you holding the IFB button down so nobody can hear what I say? Only you in your ear when I say positive things about them.
No, when I turn on my mic, he doesn't have the ability to hear because it knocks out the speakers in my studio.
Okay, that's what I meant, but more so when
So
you turn it on.
I'm usually I just leave my mic on, but I'm going back and forth. So because he can hear me because I'm sitting right next to him,
right?
But he can't hear you, so I turn my mic off so he could hear you.
Okay, so I have an idea, and I figured you are the one person from 5 a.m. Eastern through 1 p.m. Eastern that deals with Tony, Jake, and myself. So the game is Tony, Jake, or me. All right? Because if I have questions, and I'm just going to throw
Fire away.
Right?
This will be fun. I'm going to plead the fifth on every single one that I feel uncomfortable with.
No.
Look,
it. These are actually from a card game called the voting game.
Okay.
Right? So these are legit questions that I'm pulling from cards here, right?
God, I'm going to get in trouble.
No. First off, who are you getting in trouble by? I
don't know. I just, you know what?
Is Jake not going to get the bit here? Tony
right.
is all bits.
You asked me earlier, you had mentioned in the open that you were going to, you might need some marriage advice, right?
Oh, yeah. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that later. Yeah. But this is what this is what it's like. There are certain questions that your wife, fiance, significant other, girlfriend, whatever have you, will ask you where there is no right answer.
No, there's definitely a right answer here. It's either Tony, Jake, or me. Okay.
I'm going to piss someone off.
Well, no, I guarantee you will. Okay, let's look at this. Who gives the best life advice?
Right now, Tony.
Okay. Now, why? I'm curious. You have to provide.
Okay,
and I'm not going to get upset.
Given the choices, right?
Tony's older.
Yeah, Tony's older, has kids. I mean, he's not older than us by much. I mean, he and I are pretty much the same age. You and I are pretty much the same age, making you and Tony pretty much the same age.
Okay.
I think he's probably 3-4 years older than you.
Tony just doesn't sound as much as a kid as I do.
Exactly. He has priorities.
He grew up.
He has responsibilities in his life that you don't have. Jake, I just put together his bike yesterday.
Yes. See, how hard was that? That's a perfect answer.
He just learned how to make eggs over quarantine.
Yes.
And that's not a recipe. That's not eggs over Florentine. I'm literally saying during the quarantine, he made eggs for the first time ever.
Embarrassing. And he admitted it. And apparently the bacon went even worse.
The bacon, yeah. But he says he makes bacon great. And I still think he's cooking like one strip of bacon at a time, which blows my mind. Why not just cook the entire pack?
Yeah.
It's meat candy.
If it's a pound of bacon, then you might as well cook it and then just reheat it later.
Yeah, it's a pound of bacon. You need to pound that bacon.
All right. See, I like this is going in a good direction here. Next question. And we'll talk to Jabari Davis coming up in 6 minutes. Who would try to talk down the price of Girl Scout cookies?
I feel that would be you.
Now, why? I'm not cheap.
Because, no, I'm not saying you're cheap. Tony will pay the price of Girl Scout cookies because he believes that the money is going to a good cause. Right? Jake, I don't think will buy Girl Scout cookies just because it doesn't fit within his diet regimen. But, of course, I'll say this. He will pay whatever he wants to pay because I think he buys most of his meals anyway. So he would probably pay the Girl Scout cookies. You, on the other hand, will look for the better deal.
Fair enough. Who would be the best partner for trivia?
Real quick, for the Girl Scout cookies.
Yes.
I know they're like $5 a box.
They are.
But you might try to talk him into saying, hey, how about 3 boxes for $12.50?
Yes, I like that. See, now, do you feel like you got anybody in trouble or yourself in trouble, right? These are easy questions.
No, but I feel like you were throwing snowball questions.
We'll see. I'll throw a couple after Jabari Davis next.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage.
Can you send me his number?
Financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows. So when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
The 4th is your time to show off your skills. Burgers? Check. Hot dogs? Check. Refrigerator? Well, before yours decides to check out and ruin your backyard barbecue, upgrade to a new one. Lowe's has you covered with appliances up to 40% off, like an LG InstaView side-by-side refrigerator for $12.99. With a generous amount of space, you'll have even more room to store your family's favorites and everything on your barbecue menu, too. This year, we're home for the 4th. Visit Lowe's and make it the best it can be. Valid through 7/8 U.S. only.
In uncertain times, PGIM stands by the clients and communities we serve around the world. Our 1,300 investment professionals are ready with the guidance and support you need now. The insights of PGIM experts are available on demand to provide perspective. We stand committed to managing and protecting the assets entrusted to us by our clients. PGIM, the investment management business of Prudential. Find out more at pgim.com. That's pgim.com.
Over 2.5 million airline passengers fly every day in the United States. Those passengers depend on reliable airplanes, and those planes need certified aircraft technicians. That's where you come in. We are the Aviation Institute of Maintenance, and we train tomorrow's technicians. We train our students hands-on with real aircraft, develop their skills, and prepare them for real jobs in the industry. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports the average aircraft technician in the United States makes over $62,000 a year.
All right. The job opportunity is there. The money is there.
If you want to work with your hands, it's a perfect place for you.
Call 800-876-0097.
I'm very impressed with the AIM curriculum. The school's keeping pace with the demands of the industry.
The potential for growth is astounding.
Jabari's ready.
We train tomorrow's technicians.
800-876-0097. 800-876-0097.
Dealing with the root of the issues. It's the Second Level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
So we get news that 16 of 302 NBA players test positive for COVID-19. Already some back and forth amongst players about anything from health to the optics of returning and playing. So we go out to the Progressive guest line and bring in a show favorite, Jabari Davis, at Jabari Davis NBA, the pod, Dunks, and Discourse. It's on the Blue Wire Pods network, and that's at Blue Wire Pods. Jabari alongside Josh Eberly. Jabari, Eitan Shander, SB Nation Radio. As always, my friend, my pleasure. Thank you for the time. Hopefully all is well with you and yours.
Eitan, I truly appreciate it, and I always appreciate the invite.
What do you make of the latest? It looks like it's pretty much on par with how things are in the country from a percentage standpoint. But when everything is involving professional sports, especially the NBA, it's a little more heightened, and I understand that. Is there any growing concern, or do you think this thing will kind of just ride out?
Well, the truth of the matter is while there should be growing concern, I do think it's going to ride out. Like, to be honest with you, unless we see, and I heard you gave the figure, I think you said 16 out of 300, of the folks that are supposed to be reporting.
Right.
Unless it got up to somewhere between, around 50 or so, or to be honest with you, unless you started to have multiple stars on the same team, like that are going to play what you would figure to be, key factors in these upcoming playoffs, I honestly think they're just going to push through this.
Yeah, and I think okay, let me ask you this then. From that angle of pushing through this, how do you think that will be received if, in fact, there aren't any serious cases and the NBA and players are able to weather this, play, and even if somebody does pop on a positive test, they unfortunately have to sit out 2 weeks and can come back if their team is still playing? Meaning, do you think the public will accept that if these cases are not severe, they're asymptomatic and at worst low symptom?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm not going to be a hypocrite about this. I recognize going into it, and this is, you know how addicted I am to the NBA and how much I actually wanted to come back.
Yes.
So going in, they shouldn't do this. If it weren't for the business ramifications or the potential business ramifications, they probably would push this back or at least delay it. You know what I mean? So I think that as long as nobody gets seriously ill, significantly impacted as a result of it, we're all going to be like, whoo, thank God.
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioned it. It's probably going to take one, maybe two stars on the same team for this thing to be derailed. Can you see an example or a worst case scenario, and not from a health standpoint, but maybe from a positive test standpoint, if LeBron, Giannis, and Harden all come up positive in the same time frame, and that delays their ability to be on the court? Do you think that's enough to delay the start of everything, or is the NBA going to NFL this thing and be like, it doesn't matter who's out, we're going to move on?
Part of me thinks when they made the decision to go this route, it is the NFL route. Like, yeah, let's go. The worst case scenario is you have a series, right? Where, say it's the finals, say it's any series, but say you're playing the finals, and it happens to be the Lakers versus the Bucks, and LeBron and AD as well as Giannis get it. That series, like, I'm not going to put an asterisk on that, but that series is pretty much done. Like, yes, I'm going to watch it. Yes, we're all going to see how it plays out. But there's no one that would look back on that and say, like, oh, okay, yeah, that was a fair, that was a true assessment of how that series would have gone. Now, I'm not saying one way or the other whether the Lakers ended up winning or the Bucks ended up winning, it would be unfair. But what I'm saying is, we would look back on this and say, well, yeah, there was that year.
Man, I can just see it right now. LeBron carries, not to say AD is any slouch by any means, but it's going to be one of these playoffs where LeBron's fresh, motivated. He's doing so many things off the court, so he's got so much energy and momentum to win this year. And they come out, Lakers, Bucks, and before the series even starts, an asymptomatic Giannis tests positive and has to sit. Talk about the asterisk heavy crowd is already waiting to put one on LeBron for winning it this year. They'll put like 6 on him after that.
It would be ridiculous. I would probably have to get off of NBA Twitter for a little while, and I say that lying. I'm lying. I'd be right.
Well, you're part of NBA Twitter. You fuel a lot of the good stuff.
Well, I appreciate you saying, but no, look, here's the deal. It does not matter what takes place this year. If LeBron wins, the people that would have said it was an asterisk, they're going to say it's going to be one. And say, for instance, say super LeBron fans or super Lakers fans, say the Bucks come out winning or the Clippers come out winning, they might say the same types of thing. There's not going to be a scenario where everybody at least unanimously says, yeah, that was absolutely fair. So get ready for it. It's going to be It's going to be the topic throughout the fall, no matter how this thing goes.
How much continuity and I guess consistency do you expect through this break, this time off? It's not like a full off season where we've seen teams take a month or two to kind of need time to gel. These guys have been playing together, but then there's this abrupt stop. Do you anticipate a long layoff, like actually impacting the style of play here to maybe we don't get good basketball for the first couple of weeks? Or do you think it was so late in the season, Jabari, that it won't have as much of an impact?
I think it could have an impact, but to be honest, I'm going to be grateful no matter what it looks like. I don't think he's going to be I don't think it's going to look like these guys haven't seen one another or even seen the basketball in 6 months. But given the fact that they were at the peak of their season, just getting ready to go into the final run, and they just had to shut down out of nowhere, it would be difficult for me to say that there won't be any impact. There has to be some. I'm just hoping it's minimal, and more than anything, more than the actual play on the court, I just hope that the injuries are minimal.
Yeah, I don't know. That would, I guess, be more of a cause, or I guess result of the cause of being off for the time that your body's not usually used to being off, right? You're playing 70 games, and all of a sudden you take 3 months off. You come back to play 8, and then the playoffs.
Yeah, especially that's the key of it. Especially having to ratchet it up to playoff basketball to the level of intensity that we all anticipate seeing. That's where, to be honest, that first round of the playoffs. While I've always been excited about the first round, that's where we might see some folks go down. We might see some, we might see some sloppy play. We might see people, like I'm interested in seeing how that looks. Once we get deeper into the postseason, as long as we don't, as long as there weren't any catastrophic injuries, I think people would honestly work their way through it. Give it about 10, 15, 15 or so games. Obviously you've got 8 of those, leading up to it, but a total of 10, 15 games, I think we'll see, really high caliber basketball.
Yeah. And to your point, normally you might be able to, you're up 2-0 as a 1 or 2 seed in the first round. You might be able to get away with resting a guy or two. Now you kind of go, it's kind of competing theories, right? Where they've been off for so long, they don't need rest, but the more they push it in what could be a meaningless game in the first round, the more likely in this particular season, they could actually hurt themselves. It's just a weird dynamic that we're not used to.
And that's what makes this situation so unique. That's to be honest with you, that's the reason why I think placing any sort of asterisk on it is unfair, because all of these guys are going through all of this. They all went through that layoff. They all are going through the risk of playing amongst this pandemic. They're all dealing with the bubble situation, and all of the coaches and teams are going to have to deal with the scenario that you just laid out. Like, we've never seen anything like it before. If anything, the winner of this title, while it might not be clean, or some people might not think it's fair. If anything, I'm going to look back with a great deal of respect for whoever's able to come out of this.
At Jabari Davis NBA, Jabari Davis joining us, Dunks and Discourse on the Blue Wire Pods Network. All right, so have you thought this out at all as far as what the best scenario would be to display or have any type of element of a crowd? I mean, we've had a bunch of different examples. I know there are cardboard cutouts that it looks like Major League Baseball it might be thinking about in San Francisco. We've had the sex dolls that have turned into stuffed animals at Korean baseball. We've had the Zoom calls at a Danish soccer league, Jabari, where I could pay for a ticket and basically zoom in from my couch and be seen on this huge screen. And even down to, the fake crowd that you see, right? The fake green screen. What would you look at as far as the best scenario?
I don't know that there is a best scenario. I was sitting there trying not to laugh because I'd forgotten about that one team that or the league that was using the sex dolls.
Yes, they replaced them though with stuffed animals. That they went a little bit more PG.
Well, there you go. There's love for everyone. No, I actually don't necessarily hate the idea of the Zoom call. I would pay for a ticket and do it that way. But if folks want to do that and be a part of the action, or be a part of the production, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Can you imagine this first round matchup? Okay, on one side of the court, you've got this gigantic Jerry's World screen that has nothing but obnoxious, drunk, belligerent Celtics fans. And on the other side, you have this huge Jerry Jones World screen that has nothing but the most civil, respectful citizens in Philadelphia as fans of the Sixers going back and forth. Now that's entertainment.
I like how you put that. That's very interesting. Shout out to Philly. No, look. All right, so here's the problem that I thought of as you were laying that out. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that because look, if folks act the way that they act in the arena, which we've all seen, I've seen it at Staples, just like I saw it at the Forum growing up. I've seen it at Dodger Stadium. You know what goes down.
Yeah.
If they're in their own, their own element, and as lit as they would like to be, regardless of which path they go with that might be dangerous.
You know what? You're right. Here I am thinking that might be the best solution, but yeah, I don't want to leave it to people in their own home, their own element. Jabari, I have to get your thoughts on this because I know you guys talk a lot about movies. You talk a lot about television shows. In fact, I think I saw you had Kevin L. Johnson on from Ozark, right, on your most recent pod. So I'm sure you saw the Rotten Tomatoes bracket and how offensive it was. Thank you. My only question to you is, how can Rotten Tomatoes maintain credibility by not properly vetting this to where Westworld beats The Wire, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Deadwood?
They had single season, runs. Like Chernobyl beat several different shows that had run for 5-6 seasons.
It beat The Sopranos.
Great. Exactly. So look, I don't know what the hell they were doing. Maybe it's a matter of, hey, let's steal some spotlight. Let's have like the famous Aiton Sanders on this show talk about this. Maybe that's what it was, because that was the worst bracket I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not being hyperbolic. Anybody that hasn't seen it, take a look at it. It's terrible.
I muted that account. I'll never go to that page again. I'm done with that website. That's it for me.
You canceled it, huh?
I did. Look, I'm not a huge cancel guy, but in this case, here's the thing. It's not even canceling so much as I can't trust them moving forward. They've exposed themselves. I can't trust anything from that website now moving forward.
Hey, let's be real. They did. They broke the sanctity of the relationship. So I get that.
Thank you.
I absolutely get that.
And thank you for the time as always. Stay safe, my friend.
My pleasure. You do the same. Truly.
Jabari Davis at Jabari Davis NBA Dunks and Discourse. It's on the Blue Wire Pods Network. We'll wrap the hour next year on the second level.
Introducing AutomotiveMap.com,
Denny McCarthy.
a brand new website for anyone interested in what's happening in the world of automobiles. From reviews on the latest vehicles to vintage rides to tips on keeping your family safe on the road, AutomotiveMap.com has something for you.
Do you
If
know
love
where he was
cars,
by any
trucks,
chance?
and SUVs and the amazing technology.
No clue. I haven't been paying attention.
Oh, here we go. He's 3 under.
AutomotiveMap.com.
All right, tied for 54th. He's supposed to come in today.
Pushing the odds with Matt Perrault.
Colin Kaepernick lost his job because he stood for something that made people uncomfortable. What happened was a complete and total character assassination of Colin Kaepernick and a corrupting of the message he was trying to push to muddy the waters so much that no one really understood what he was doing and why he was doing it. So my question to the NFL, this coming year, will you allow the next Colin Kaepernick?
You guys
The
start at
NFL,
5, right?
Major League Baseball, NHL, the NBA.
No, we started at
6.
Well, we used to go. I'm going to speak in Eastern terms. We used to go from 6 to 9 Eastern. Now we go from 7 to 9.
Uncomfortable and that you feel is bad for business. What do? Do you listen or do you kick them
Wait
out
a
because
second.
you
I
kicked
didn't
out
know
Colin
that.
Kaepernick?
I thought I was missing shows. I thought I was missing. Like, I usually get you guys in the 7 or 8 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
So I didn't really.
Us at our best.
Well, Well, now at all. Like, you guys are not on at all. What airs from 5 to 7?
From 5 to 7 is Bagels and Bad Beats.
Oh, is that the
Wexler?
Scott Wetzel?
Scott Wetzel, yeah, thank you.
Television, but
is that a live show?
Yes.
So all you do is just pot it up, or?
Yep. I don't touch it. I have the overnight guy send it an hour to him.
Okay.
Organic thing that you've ever done, whether it's an NBA or an NFL game or any other sport?
Well, they've all been organic. I like to say that whenever they've happened, you're so focused that it does happen organically. Now, listen, wrestling with my kids or playing Nerf football in their rooms, you come up with these crazy sayings like the no regard for human life. That call, that actually I stole from a James Bond movie, Dr. No. So when I heard that line, I would use it when I was playing.
Hey, Eitan, Sean's going to take care of you in this segment. I got to make a run to the restroom real quick.
3 years old, he goes, I have no regard for human life. And I would slam the Nerf ball over his head. So when LeBron did that, for whatever reason, in that moment, it just kind of popped into my head, and I used the call.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern. Dealing with the root of the issues. It's the second level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
Breaking news out of the PGA. I mean, it's getting to a point right now where we're either going to have to talk about sports, which is basically COVID-19, or we do something completely removed from it. I really want to talk about this other thing happening in golf, but I can't. It's funny. I don't normally, I'll never believe in the jinx if I jinx somebody else, but I don't want to jinx myself. And maybe just saying that is a jinx in its own right. I don't know. But the other story, of course, the big story, the real story, not what's going on in my head, is Denny McCarthy is withdrawn from the PGA Tour, the Travelers Championship in Connecticut, due to testing positive for COVID-19. So that's really all we know at the moment. And I'm sure that there's going to be a ton of discussion now about who he was in contact with, his caddy, his coach, and everybody from that line. But without knowing specifically what's going on and truly getting the details of A, how sick he is, and B, who he was in contact with, it's kind of hard to reach this huge or broad conclusion, if you will, that the tour needs to shut down immediately. The tour moved on, assured us it would move on, despite the Koepka bros and others pulling out because of somebody in their crew contracting COVID, caddy after caddy. So now that we have a golfer, we have to check and see just the extent of this. You know that everybody that he played with today and yesterday is going to be checked again, tested again. And we've seen countless examples, if you want to look at the most recent examples, of people like caddies, for example, testing positive, but the golfer that they caddy for did not, or the coach in that crew did not. So just because, and it's not to downplay anything that's going on with Denny McCarthy, that's for sure. This is a serious story for he and anybody else on tour. It's explaining why you wouldn't jump to let's shut everything down. You just heard Jabari Davis say the NBA probably won't shut everything down if you had a scenario where LeBron, Harden, and Giannis got it. Denny McCarthy is not going to shut this thing down, but it should create more awareness for golfers that are refusing to follow the rules.
Into the night.
You think LeBron, if he wins a title on October 12th, is going to be ready to go back to training camp less than a month later?
No.
And then start the season on December 1st? Hell no.
No.
Hey, LeBron, you just won another championship. What are you going to do? I ain't doing nothing. I got to be back in work in 3 weeks.
Right.
I can't even go to Disney World. I've been here since frickin' July.
Into the night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Listen to the car guru himself, Mike Herzing with Matt Peralt, every Saturday morning from 7 to 8 Eastern on Let's Talk Wheels, right here on SB Nation Radio. Join Mike and Matt as they talk about everything going on in the world of cars. To get more content on your favorite team, you can check out our friends at SBNation.com. They have team-specific sites to fit your needs, whether it's basketball, baseball, NFL, or the school you graduated from. SB Nation has you covered.
Wake up call. We know Major League Baseball is trying to get back, but eventually it will, and eventually minor league baseball will be back. And if you are a minor league team in need of a change of identity, would you go with Murder Hornets?
I think it's a fantastic idea.
Kind of like with a hat, with a Murder Hornet hat on it, maybe going through some letter or something. Like if you're Chattanooga, you got a C on it and a Murder Hornet blasting through.
A Murder Hornet mascot running through the stadium.
Wouldn't it be cool if you have like a race between a bee and a Murder Hornet? Like, everybody, now let's go to the outfield where Harry the Murder Hornet is going to be running against a couple of bees. And you get the fans dressed up as bees and they're running. And if they can outrun the Murder Hornet, they get a prize pack. But if the Murder Hornet catches them, unfortunately, he's got to rip their head off.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings. Pharrell.
I like hearing the Bundesliga players chirping and the coaches yelling, even though I can't understand a word they're saying in German. I took 1 year of German in high school, and it didn't work out so well for me, the whole German thing. I didn't do well with their language. But I can say, Guten Tag. Bitte schön, auf Wiedersehen.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. The second level. The second level.
I want you to let this play, and I'm just going to go on this big rant on MLB. Let's see what the juxtaposition sounds like with Beethoven underneath me ranting and raving about MLBs. You better go full right now, heavy into the tournament. That's the only thing you can do to salvage this selfish offseason that you've had, to salvage any type of positive PR back from the fans. And don't just expect because it's on TV, people will watch. You can't go George Costanza in that meeting with the NBC president of, well, it's on TV. That's why people are watching. How did that work? It was a little cathartic, hopefully, for you out there. It was great for me. It does feel therapeutic, I think, but only because of the classical music. I don't know if it would work with any other type of music.
The second level, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. Game time decisions.
I'm Gabriel Morency, inviting you to join me and the Raging Redhead, Cam Stewart, weekdays at 6 Eastern on SB Nation Radio, the loudest station in the nation. No games, no problem. We've got your back. Weekdays at 6. We throw it down. Best bets, props. If they're playing, we'll find a number on it. Bring it. Weekdays at 6. SB Nation Radio. Game time decisions.
Game time decisions with Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart. Weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. Into the night.
My old partner in mullets and in great suits, the great Barry Amaro. Now, let me ask you about the hair, though, because you're not allowed to get haircuts. It's starting to open up now. So did the hair get really, really, really long? Because everybody, is complaining about I can't go to the barber. Is the mullet back?
I never got a haircut for the whole time, the whole Pandemaniac. So it was getting pretty long. I don't know if I've had it longer, but it was pretty long.
I got to ask you, what product do you recommend? Because you got this nice, crop and slick back. What do you use?
Just a very high-quality gel. And I'm giving you all these secrets before the season starts. Once the season starts, I got no time for that. I got to be
No, I know. Listen, this is what we need. It's like training camp. We all want to look good when the puck drops, wherever the hell the puck is going to drop.
I got my work cut out for me. There's no doubt about that.
Into the night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Wake up call. I'll tell you right now, the 16th floor destination tower that the elite NBA teams are going to be staying at is going to be a point of contention. Like when the Clippers meet the Grizzlies and they start talking about the accommodations, well, we have a 16th floor panoramic view bar that's very nice for us to hang out. And the Grand Floridian folks are going to be like, well, we have a train we're not allowed to go on.
Wake up call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. When you turn to Rocket Mortgage, we can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Set your system's volume control for slightly above the normal listening level.
Let's go. Second level thinking is defined as looking beyond the easy, obvious conclusions.
You got to do some smart thinking.
Welcome to the second level. To the second level. A Gal Media property in partnership with Jacob Media, where we go beyond the box score. Presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage is with you every step of the way. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's your host, Eitan Shander.
Busy second hour as we'll work in reverse, meaning we'll start at the end of the hour. Jared Smith from Sports Grid is going to join us, FanDuel and beyond. We get to talk a lot with Jared from a betting standpoint, right down to what's happening with some stocks. Also, fake news, as always, with Ron Culver, 1225 Eastern. And maybe, just maybe, an update on the Travelers Championship leaderboard, if I can omit one name, because I'm afraid of angering the golf gods. Normally, I do that. I offend the golf gods every time I go out and attempt to play the game. But in this case, I don't want to anger them. There's a difference. Offending, they're used to. They're used to me offending them. In this case, I don't want to anger and tempt my own fate by placing a futures bet and watching it go high only to crumble in front of me. The NFL is dealing with players, not just Malcolm Jenkins, raising questions about their safety. Another golfer has withdrawn from the Travelers due to testing positive, Denny McCarthy. We have Major League Baseball looks like an afterthought right now. Just getting back and all that nonsense and everything that was going back and forth is an afterthought. 16 of the 302 NBA players that are expected to report are now undergoing quarantine after testing positive for COVID-19. So the NBA, much like every other league, depending on if it's back right now, like the PGA and UFC and others, NASCAR, or, and speaking of NASCAR, turns out it was a noose the whole time. So that's what's happening in sports. The country itself is going through stages right now of either halting any further reopening or reversing and attempting to put the toothpaste back into the tube, even if it's for another 2 weeks. It looks like sports is following in step right now, where that cloud of doom. It's a Friday. Should we be having more fun than this? That's all. I get it. COVID's still here. It's still important. Wear your mask, wash your hands, keep 6 feet, but it's Friday.
The 4th is your time to show off your skills. Burgers? Check. Hot dogs? Check. Refrigerator? Well, before yours decides to check out and ruin your backyard barbecue, upgrade to a new one. Lowe's has you covered with appliances up to 40% off, like an LG InstaView side-by-side refrigerator for $12.99. With a generous amount of space, you'll have even more room to store your family's favorites and everything on your barbecue menu, too. This year, we're home for the 4th. Visit Lowe's and make it the best it can be. Valid through 7/8 U.S. only.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows. So when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
I've always wanted to learn another language, so I decided to give Babbel a try, and I really like the teaching method of the app. I started with the beginner lesson on Babbel, and soon you're putting words into a conversation. Each lesson takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and they're all really different, which keeps things interesting. I can't wait to use my Spanish skills in real life. Dos cervezas, por favor.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Auto Accident Help Desk is a marketing agency connecting callers with attorneys. Providers pay a fee for advertising services.
I love getting my kids ready and driving them to school.
But a careless driver can change your life in an instant, and insurance companies want to settle on the cheap. Auto Accident Help Desk connects victims with powerful lawyers. They fight for you.
I called Auto Accident Help Desk and got help for my pain and suffering.
Don't let an insurance company take advantage of you. Our attorneys fight and beat big insurance every day.
Call 800-528-6859. 800-528-6859.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months, you owe it to yourself to make this free call with no obligation. We're available 24/7 to help you get the money you deserve for your pain and suffering. Auto Accident Help Desk helps accident victims like you every day.
Call 800-528-6859. 800-528-6859. That's 800-528-6859.
Scratching beneath the surface. It's the second level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
We'll hit fake news 13 minutes. Jared Smith from Sports Grid will join us 12:40 Eastern time, of course. Denny was 3 under and will have to withdraw as a result of testing positive. But outside of that, I mean, that's really the closest that we've seen. And not to say that if he's 3 under or 8 under or 12 under, that it makes any difference. He still is going to have to withdraw and can't continue to play. But the discussion now is, well, what happens? And I think it's very simple. You just continue to move forward while making sure that these subcontractors, I guess is how they're always described, are doing what they can in order to prove that they're negative from testing. And I get that the golfers are not technically employees like players in the NBA or NHL are. But at the same time, the PGA is not totally powerless. You have golfers that are still deciding and making the decision under their own volition, right, to come and play in these events. And while you would not want to, from a PR stand and ratings standpoint, right, turn away a big Phil Mickelson, he's not listening. This guy wasn't wearing his mask. He was out and about. He was hanging out with his caddy at the bar. He's not listening. Well, what do? Well, we ban him from coming in and playing. We can't have him tee off. We can't have him come here. The PGA has done this before. They have disqualified. They have suspended. They have banned from events. How long was John Daly pulling his truck up outside of the PGA event, kind of like a rich man's version of Pete Rose? Daly only disgraced himself. To be fair, Rose did it to much more people. But it's not outside the reach of the PGA to further enforce, hey, if you're not taking this thing seriously, then we're not going to have you in. And it might be a name that you recognize. Yeah, it would stink if Rory McIlroy's that guy. It would also stink, to be honest with you, if it was anybody else. It's just who the average person cares about is only determined on how well they know that name. But this is not stopping anything as we see right now. We're continuing to move forward with this event, but it might be a little glimpse because it's manageable, yet it's also a big body of players, if you will, athletes. You've got a lot of golfers out here playing. This is pre-cut. So you haven't even had this Saturday where you've had the benefit of clearing out a lot of the field. In this case, you still have a lot of golfers who have yet to go out on the course. And I'm sure anybody who has had contact with Denny or anybody on his team is running right now to get a test to make sure that they're negative and that they can continue to play golf. And that's the only thing that I think you can truly take away from this. If you go back to the convo we had in hour one with Jabari Davis and just kind of where we are with the NBA, it would take a massive amount of departure, quarantining, locking down, staying at home, the self-quarantine 14 days to where the NBA would truly be derailed. I think the NFL is just way too far down the line to have this type of conversation. That's why Malcolm Jenkins is more than entitled to his opinion about that. And I actually agree that a player should not have to choose between family or football for 6 months. But we're not close to having that conversation. Baseball, sure. Baseball doesn't even want to consider any type of bubble or anything along those lines. Baseball told you that they didn't even want to procure enough tests to test players daily. 3 to 4 days, we can do that. I wonder if they're going to switch that point of view. I wonder if they fall back a little bit on that and come out with a new strategy. Or if it's just a matter of, you signed the line. Moron players, they signed there. Now we do whatever the heck we want. Well, we don't have enough money. We don't have the $60,000 a day it would cost to get all those tests. But golf not shutting down. Golf not stopping immediately and saying, all right, let everybody go to the hospital, get checked, and then we'll come back tomorrow. Whatever would be seen as reasonable or irrational, golf didn't do it. And that's probably, so long as things maintain, and you see this all over on Twitter, there is a distinct difference between what's happening now and what happened 3 or 4 months ago when this thing first hit. The biggest difference is who's getting sick now versus who got sick then. Because death rates are not nearly where they were, because it's a lot, the group of people that are bringing down the average age of those who are getting positive tests are much younger, and we know are less likely, not necessarily to be susceptible to having it asymptomatic or not, but less likely to develop severe conditions and ultimately die from this. So, yes, you're going to see a couple of things, and this is not any moral or political or justified statement. I'm just explaining what I've heard from now 5 different doctors, and I'm trying to piece it all together in one statement. Yes, it's a very simple process of more positive tests will come from more testing, but there's more than that. It's not that. We're seeing Arizona and Florida specifically. Those are 2 hot spots right now. Arizona is being called an epicenter right now. And a major look at the average age of when this thing first hit to where it is now. Arizona, it's dropped 13, 14 years from high 70s to low 60s. And think about how young people need to be in order to drag that down, the average age. Florida, we know it's gone even lower because for a while, through politicians and media, and anybody who is coerced by them, you were told as a younger person, you're invincible. You don't need a mask. You can live. You can go on, do whatever you want. They're for sick people. They're for elderly people. They're for doctors. I'm looking at 3 different articles from March. One from CNN, one from BBC, one from NBC News. Do masks prevent sickness? This is way back March 11th. BBC had an article March 4th. Coronavirus, face mask ads banned for misleading claims. Turns out that mask was a medical grade mask, thicker than cloth, but was coming out, and this is again in March 4th, saying you need a mask in order to survive COVID. That was the misleading claim. And then the CNN article, which is my favorite, giving you the do's and don'ts, and this is from March 5th. Here's who needs to wear a face mask and who doesn't. Let's not forget Vox, who told people early March, save those medical grade masks for the people who really need them. You can go out with a layer of cloth. And those doctors who really need them are telling you need like 3 or 4 layers of cloth. So it's all been mixed up, and then you add Twitter and the misinformation that Twitter's been responsible for. So golf right now is dealing with everything. They're dealing with all of that on the outside. They're dealing with golfers internally who are testing positive, and they're trying to balance like every other sport or league will balance once somebody tests positive. The NBA is currently doing this right now without having to play games, of course. So while it sounds a little off, 16 of 302 testing positive right now. In 2 weeks, that number is going to change. There are plenty of players who did not test positive that are going to look at that as an indication of, I need to be even safer than I am. Yeah, I can't go out on Tinder. I can't go out to the bar. I can't do this. I can't hang with, my third side piece, what have you. That goes for all athletes, anybody involved. I don't care if it's a hockey player, football player, what have you. There are going to be changes made as a result of that. Not everybody, because we know not everybody follows the rules. That's why you have people in mask-wearing countries like China, South Korea, Singapore, Japan, populations who were wearing masks as a result of heavy pollution way before COVID hit, still see cases in some areas spike. Some of it is because it's not just the mask. And the other part of it is that not everybody follows the rules. Shocker, right? Not everybody's out there following the rules. I can't tell you if that's what happened with Denny and his team. We don't know yet. But it is fascinating to see how the PGA moves on, deals with any sliding optics as a result of another golfer having to withdraw from testing positive, but no clear, and rightfully so, because I don't think there is any clear indication of what to do moving forward outside reminding people, hey, you know, you're going to have to keep washing your hands, staying distant from people, and doing your best. That I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how much that can change. I don't know if the PGA needs to start coming down on people for not washing their hands, for not socially distancing. If it proves in contact tracing that somebody who tests positive is positive as a result of them not wearing a mask in an open air, whatever it may be, like clear violation of what social policy should be. If you're a golfer going to play with other golfers, then there should probably be some deeper punishment. And I know that sounds off again because we're talking about somebody who got sick, but I don't know what else you do as a deterrent. Now, I've been mentioning this another day, another great opportunity to tell you about not only this amazing product, but how well it works, and that's Blue Emu. It's real simple. You have muscle aches, joint pains, you're working out, exercising. This is what you need to slather on your body. There's no chill, there's no burn, there's no odor. You can put a little bit on a small area. You can rub it on a bigger area. I've done both. Back when we were initially doing this with Blue Emu, I got myself a jar and I used it so fast because it worked so well that I immediately went out and bought another one. I was surprised at how fast and effective it was. And also, the best part for me was that I didn't have to explain to my, at the time, girlfriend, now fiance, why I am smelling like a medicine chest. And make no mistake, that's a factor. You live with somebody. I don't care how long you've been living with somebody. I don't care. Nobody gets immune to the smell of the medicine chest. So why put somebody else through it as well as yourself when you can knock two birds with one stone? Grab a jar here of Blue Emu, America's #1 selling emu oil brand, made here in America. And again, unlike everybody else, half of them are using this ingredient capsaicin, which is chili peppers to make it really hot and burn. And the other half are using menthol. That cold. Some of them are using both. First it's hot, then it's cold. Why not just be normal? And why not smell like you normally do and have Blue Emu take care of your muscles and joints? Fake news next on The Second Level.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault.
I want to talk about baseball and the money conversation. What's going on?
I think I'm allergic to needles.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that later, okay? Madeline, I'm on the air, kiddo.
Thanks, Aton.
We'll talk later.
Oh, yeah,
okay?
no worries.
Hold on. Just stay right there. I have a commercial break coming up. This is what I'm dealing with a fiber. And my wife is here. I don't know why. Why is Mommy letting you in here, Madeline? Do you want to come on the radio or what? Go ahead. What?
Yes, now.
Yes, now? Wait, so just say hi, and then you can be gone, okay?
I'm going to come on the radio now.
You're on the radio now. That microphone's on. You're on the radio now.
Hi, bye. I have headphones.
Those are headphones. Yes, you do. So, yeah, that's my life now, okay? I'm getting interrupted doing national radio with a 5-year-old running in and out, okay? Thanks, hon. Appreciate it. I'll come talk to you during the commercial break. Oh, boy. Okay.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern on SB Nation Radio. Pharrell.
The Raiders making almost, $500 million in PSLs in their new stadium. So I always told you, they're going to be the most profitable team in the NFL one day. Count on it because of Vegas and because of that stadium and the amount of events they're going to have there and Super Bowls and Final Fours and everything else. Just the Raiders alone are going to make so much money, make your head spin.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. Into the night.
Now imagine how pissed off Bryce Harper must have been while he's playing Fortnite with the bros and he gets dropped in. All of a sudden, his computer beeps, and you have a new message.
Right. Incoming email.
Incoming email from the commissioner. And then he says, bros, I got to stop the Fortnite, man. I'm kicking ass here. I got to put down my joysticks. Brah. By the way, that's Snell Bra, man. That dude, that's my boy right there. And he's got to read a 67-page report, Harry.
There's no way Snell Bra made it to page 3. Okay, let's be real.
Snell Bra probably opened the first page and said, screw this.
He's not getting paid $7 million to read this.
Hell no. 67 pages. You got to pay me double what I was supposed to get.
Then I'm getting taxed.
It's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it.
I mean, I'm only getting paid to read 20 pages of it.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
If business, pleasure, or sports fandom takes you to Houston, Dallas, Austin, Fort Worth, or San Antonio, check out CultureMap.com to get the scoop on the local favorites. From the best restaurants, bars, pubs, and clubs to the biggest sights and sounds each city has to offer, CultureMap has it all. Just head over to CultureMap.com. The expert team personally reviews and visits each spot to make sure you get the best experience. And if you're coming back, sign up for free CultureMap updates at CultureMap.com.
So, can I ask you a question?
Fake news with Ron. With all the fake news out there,
Don't believe those lies.
it's on Shander to give it to you straight. 3 stories, but only one is fake.
It's true. I know it's a weird thought, but it's true.
Can Shander spot the fraud? Here's Ron Culver.
You know, I've been kind of stuck on themes this week, haven't I?
Yeah, but it's Friday, so
It's Friday.
do whatever the hell you want.
You ready for this one?
I am.
All right. I'm not trying to do any ageism here in this one, okay?
Okay.
So try to figure out which is the fake story. A 2-year-old is counting the days to once again to be able to go to his favorite pub for lunch.
Really?
Really?
2-year-old.
2 years old has been
Now, what's-
complaining to his mother
Right.
that he wants to go to his favorite pub for lunch once again and has not been able to
Yeah.
because of the pandemic. But July 4th, he is all set and will be able to once again dine at his favorite local establishment.
Now, is this in London?
Yes. That's why I'm using the word pub. I'm not sure if it's in London or outside London. It's somewhere somewhere in Great Britain. How about that?
What's the youngest you were when you first were taken to a bar?
God, I have no idea.
So I had a babysitter. My parents were divorced since I was 2. My dad worked a ton, and I lived with my mom.
Yeah.
So my mom also worked. She worked like 80, 85 hours a week. And I had a babysitter when I was much younger. And I must have been, well, it was pre-6th grade. I know that because I switched schools at 6th grade. So I think it was like 4th grade. And what are you, 9?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the babysitter would take me to the bar. She'd get me a big glass of Coke, and she'd put me on, you know that bowling thing where it's a magnet and you slide it down and you bowl?
Sure.
Yeah. And she would stick me in front of that for like an hour, hour and a half while she would get bent with her friends.
Nice.
And I let my mom know that one time, I think. And she's like, what? And that was it for that.
No, I was never brought to a bar. Now, I remember going to a casino in 84.
That is a beautiful thing.
And I know that it was in 84 because when I was at a casino, it was Bally's in Reno. My mom had a friend who was in town, so they decided to go to the casino. And I know that I was at a casino in 1984 because it was election night, Reagan versus Mondale. But I was dropped off in an arcade inside the casino. And my mom and her friend would just keep coming back to me because they were playing the slot machines. They would just keep coming back to me and handing me these gigantic cups of quarters.
Oh,
I thought it was the greatest day ever.
That is.
That's how could I be upset
special.
with just quarter after quarters after quarters?
You can't be.
Because back then, kids, that was before you can just go and buy a card.
Right. No
You actually
cards,
had
no
to
Dave
pump
and Buster's
quarters into a
thing.
machine.
Absolutely. All right. Story 1.
Story number 2. A 28-year-old topless sunbather saves a family from drowning. Not a bad day.
Is it just a matter of calming them down by, hey, focus on me. Just look
literally,
right
a
here.
family was out in the water struggling, and a topless sunbather ran out to help them.
Now, how many people in this family?
And when I say that she's, it was a family of 3. They were stuck in a rip current.
You need some strength to pull in a family of 3.
Well, I don't know if she did it all at once.
What does she keep going? What is this, Forrest Gump pulling people out of the
I think
forest?
so, yeah.
What is going on here? Now, how topless was she?
Well, her name is Jessica Layton. She is 28, and according to this report, not all heroes wear capes. Some of them don't even wear bikini tops.
Are there any? I mean, wouldn't you want to see
Video
what she
or
looked
photos?
like? Well, yes.
I have photos of what she looks like with clothes on.
No, but I'm saying I wanted to see the raw video.
Of course you do.
That's all.
That's on a different website, by the way.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know if that's up yet for distribution. It's probably on its way. Is okay. So I guess the element.
Here she grabbed one of their hands and pulled them all onto the beach.
Okay.
So I guess maybe there was a chain, hand to hand combat, and she just grabbed one and no one let go.
Nope.
Kind of the family too.
It's amazing.
All right, story number 3.
Yeah.
A 51-year-old mother serves as her daughter's surrogate after she is unable to get pregnant.
51 years old. Now that's dangerous, isn't it? When you get to a point,
that's dangerous,
right?
Yeah, that's not that could be that could go wrong very quickly.
So is it simply because her daughter can't have kids? And
yeah, her daughter was unable to have kids, so she served as her daughter's surrogate.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the pair.
Is there?
I'm looking at the pair right now.
Yeah.
I'm having. I think I know which one's the mom. So not too bad, mom. Or, God, daughter, do something with yourself.
Wait, I'm confused.
Okay, so that's the mom. Okay, I was confused. All right, no,
do they look alike?
No, well, I mean, the mom looks good for her age.
So is the story real? Is the hook really that she's 51 and being a surrogate? Is that not a normal thing?
Yeah, that's not a normal thing. And just, I mean, 51 years old, that's a dangerous time to be having a child.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and she's going to be giving birth to her daughter's child on November 12th. So grandma is giving birth to her daughter, or her daughter's kid.
Yes, but I mean, it's the surrogate. It's not like, the husband is with the mom. It's, they plant.
Well, I hope
they
not.
plant it.
I hope grandpa, soon to be grandpa, is there holding grandma's hand.
No, this is not
delivering the
something
baby
out of Deliverance. I promise you.
All right, so those are your 3 stories. A 2-year-old counting the days to once again go to his favorite
tough.
pub. A
This is very
28-year-old topless sunbather saves a family from drowning, and a 51-year-old mother serves as her daughter's surrogate.
I have no idea.
Well, there's a good reason for that. Because earlier in this hour, you were talking about it's Friday. Can't we just be happy?
Right.
So I chose 3 stories that should make you happy. And what's even best is that all 3 stories are true today.
Wait a second.
Because I want everyone to be feeling good going into this weekend as the country goes to hell in a handbasket once again.
All right.
So how can you not feel good about a 2-year-old wanting to go to his favorite pub, or a 12-year-old topless sunbather who doesn't look that bad, by the way, saving your life at a beach, or a 51-year-old mom who looks pretty good herself doing something great for her daughter?
Right.
So I flipped it up a little bit. You can't choose. You're going to lose either way if you choose a story because they're all true.
Okay. That's fair. It won't count on my record. How about that?
No. It doesn't count against anyone's record.
I like the idea, though.
This is a freebie because I think we all need to feel a little positivity today.
Fair enough, my friend. We'll try to get some continuing from Jared Smith. If he brings any negativity, we're going to bounce him.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never...
Yeah, I decided to do that to you.
No, it was fun.
Guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so now is a great time to call 8338-ROCKET. And if you need some extra money, a cash-out refinance could give you that financial boost you're looking for. Call today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
At CDW, we get that working remotely can make.
Hey, Ton.
Yeah.
I just sent you the story about the 20-year-old sunbather. I texted it to you. That way, I mean, not bad. I don't know if it's my first choice go-to, but, I mean, considering what topless sunbather could be saving you, I don't mind her.
No, not at all.
Gotta run. The boss is calling.
Mr. Whiskers sounds very demanding. IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Google.
No, man, not at all.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand, call Consolidated Credit now. If you're making the minimum payments, but your balance is just not going down, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates are
What'd you say?
so high, it will
Yeah.
call Consolidated.
But, you know, she has good flotation devices, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Reduce your interest rates and get you out of debt fast. If you're struggling with credit card debt, call Consolidated Credit.
I don't know if you clicked on the link to the Daily Star. There's one photo of her. It's like, okay, a little hippie-ish, but nice rack.
949-1277. Consolidated Credit Counseling Services Incorporated, 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33313. Not a loan company licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Maryland DM 19, Oregon DM 80031. Licensed by Virginia State Corporation. Commission license number DC 32. Establishment of a plan may adversely affect the individual's credit rating or credit score. Non-payment of debt may be creditors to increase financial charges or collections activity, including litigation.
My name is Megan Eddings, founder and CEO of.
Who am I calling again?
Research shows
Smith.
wearing a face mask drastically reduces the spread of the coronavirus. Excel Lifestyle's Prima antibacterial face masks are soft, washable, and double layer for added protection. To purchase you and your loved one's face mask, please go to excellifestyle.com. That's ACCEL lifestyle.com. Once we receive your order, we will ship your masks out immediately. Thank you and stay safe.
You're going on a trip, but where are you going to stay? How much will it cost? Well, it'll cost less by booking on besthotelrates.com. Besthotelrates.com works with all the top
Jared's ready.
Cool. While delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to besthotelrates.com, enter your email address, and start shopping for your next hotel room. Besthotelrates.com. It's in the name. Besthotelrates.com.
Scratching beneath the surface. It's the second level, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
So we mentioned earlier that there was some value, maybe even some live value in the PGA. And I didn't want to, I hate to use the term jinx it, but when my money's on the line, I'll throw anything out there. When somebody else's money on the line, I don't believe in a sports jinx, any of that other nonsense. And whenever we have a chance to sit down and break some bread with Jared Smith at Jared Lee Smith, Sports Grid, FanDuel, Wager Talk, Sports Memo, MSG Networks, everywhere, I always want, or at least attempt in my mind, and hopefully we'll have some time here, to ask him about what's happening in the stock market, especially since it's been so volatile the past week. But Jared, as always, appreciate your time. Hope all is well with you and yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Eitan. It's been an interesting couple weeks. Obviously, we're the news. I would say the stock market news, in addition to the news we're hearing in the sports world and the COVID world, is about as volatile as can be. And honestly, I'm operating under the assumption now every single player, sport, league, entity is questionable every day. When I wake up every day, I got to see what's going on because there's no real certainties anymore. And from a handicapping perspective, as you know, that's a very difficult uncertainty to operate under.
Yeah, the only thing you can look at is your bets will be voided. Right. Somebody has to, anybody who had Denny McCarthy today is going to get their money back. But, you're right. It makes it very difficult ahead of time, especially from a future standpoint. And look, I get that you get your money back, but there's an element of frustration, right? You take the Yankees to win over 38 and a half games and half their guys miss half the season, as short of as it is, because they get COVID-19. It definitely puts a damper not only from an entertainment standpoint, but from a prediction standpoint in your business?
I'll take it even one step further. Let's say it's Chiefs, I don't know, Chiefs, Chargers, big week, divisional matchup. Monday morning, hey, I got a good number on this Chiefs line. They're only laying 2 in the hook. I'm going to bet this Chiefs line right now on Monday morning because I think it's going to move to 3.5 by the time we get to game time because people are going to be betting on Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes walks into the building Sunday morning, test positive. I mean, you're not getting that bet back. That's going to be, you're still on the Chiefs -2 in the hook, and it's probably going to be +2 in the hook if Patrick Mahomes ain't playing. So that to me, and I know we're not in the NFL yet, and we will be, in the next couple months, we'll be talking about these kind of lines, but that's the kind of volatility I'm expecting. And I had a discussion. We had Yanni the Greek, who's a professional bettor out in Vegas on Sports Grid yesterday. And actually it was today. We taped it yesterday, there today. And I said, Yanni, I'd be willing to bet that this is going to be the most volatile year of NFL spreads in terms of line movement from a Monday opener to a Sunday close that we're ever going to see. And he's like, yeah, usually even the sharp money that comes in only moves the line about a point max, maybe 1.5. It never moves it a full field goal, barring some catastrophic injury midweek. And I think we're going to see 6-7 point moves in the NFL this year, week to week. Because we could have a situation where the entire wide receiving group gets it. It just, and they're going to the practice squad to pick out 4 fresh bodies because there's nobody left. And it's going to be a real tough handicap. Now, I know we're in June and we might get to the point in September where we have at least some kind of semblance of control over this disease and over this virus and how it affects, the not only the sports community, but the world. But in June right now, I have to operate under the assumption that we don't, and we're not going to, and it's going to be a very volatile season when it comes to the team sports. Individual sports, I agree. It's cut and dry. This guy's out, you get your money back. But team sports, a whole other animal.
Well, let's look at this. Let's just hypothetically look at the 4 big leagues right now, knowing baseball has done everything hell-bent determined on being back in time. The NHL, which has been awfully quiet, really quiet. The NBA, we get today 16 of the 302, which is on par for the average percentage of a group of people who would test positive in that group. And then the NFL, which is always throughout this entire pandemic, Jared, as you know, had the benefit of not having to do anything, just kind of say some stuff. So let's handicap in your hypothetical world here from odds-on favorite to plus 5,000. Who is the first league that would come back and say, that's it, we're done? Like, we're canceling, we're not doing anything this year?
I think the NHL. I would say the NHL because I think the health and safety protocols in the NHL, first of all, they're going to be, I think, the first league that comes back minus baseball. I think it's baseball first, then hockey, then basketball. I think there might be a little bit of variance between hockey and basketball. It might be the same day. But I think because unlike some of these other sports, I think hockey, you do have an extreme case of equipment and situations where you could have a massive outbreak in a short period of time. I think baseball is by itself a socially distant sport to begin with. There's not a lot of, involvement with players being close together. Basketball, no. Basketball, you're, basically in a phone booth with these guys on the floor. And hockey, as you know, the equipment is, it's shared, it's dirty, it smells bad to begin with. And these guys are basically in a phone booth again on the ice. Contact, moving back and forth. So I think baseball, I think if you had to handicap it, I think has the best chance of making it through the season without a total implosion. Hockey, I would say, because there's more players than basketball and because we're not seeing that social distancing that is going to take place on the ice that we're going to see on a baseball diamond. I would say hockey first, but I think hockey and basketball are neck and neck because they are by nature not socially distant sports. If you're 6 feet away from the person you're defending on the ice or on the court, you're not doing it well. So I think those are the 2 sports that come to mind first. And the NFL, you're right. The NFL has been the most fortunate timing-wise from all of this. Baseball got it the worst. Baseball has been under the microscope from minute one of this, not just because of the disease, but because of the labor dispute. Hockey and basketball have kind of gotten the benefit of the doubt because they kind of were in mid-season and they already paid their players a decent amount and it was really just about crowning a champion in a respectful way. Whereas football now, we're starting to inch up closer to that starting line. And the questions now are really starting to come. I mean, Roger Goodell yesterday made it seem like there's going to be fans in the stands in the fall.
That's a great point.
I don't understand how in June he can make that prediction other than just presenting a united front. But it's the Wild West out there, Eitan. I mean, honestly, it's like the gold rush. You know, you're gonna put that that thing in the ground. I don't know what it's called. The thing that you pick the gold with, that little hook thing, that little the
not
utensil.
the see, I'm caught up on oil, the driller.
Yeah, well, what's that thing
The
you
slant
put? I don't know
driller,
what it's called.
right?
Yeah, there you go. So, you put that thing in the ground. It could be a rock or it could be gold. It
Right.
could be COVID. It could not be. I mean, I think it's that uncertain and that, Wild Westian feel where on any given day, I think we could get any headline, positive, negative. There's really no in between here.
So let's look at today. Despite having another golfer test positive and withdraw from the Travelers, we were talking about this in the first hour of the show. And before I came on early this morning, I saw another kind of similar example of what I saw 2 Fridays ago, which is a couple of guys that don't have strong household names hanging around up top with Xander up there. And I thought, two weeks ago, I took Xander, great value on a Friday, similar situation, hanging around. And lo and behold, he did right there to the end, of course, to that 71st hole where he missed that putt. So this morning, I got him at plus 750. But we were talking it through live on the show. And at the time, I believe that Will Gordon was 9 under. And we snatched him up at plus 3,500, thinking, what the hell, why not? So look at those 2 plays and then kind of tell me what you think about where this thing is going overall.
Well, Schauffele's had limited results at River Highlands, but he's been pretty decent this season. Of course, we know about the tie for third at the Charles Schwab. Didn't have a great RBC heritage, but it was a weird tournament at the end. He shot 66 on Sunday, so it's not like he had a bad Sunday.
Yeah, he killed my top 20.
Yeah, he shot 75 on Saturday, which was basically scuttled him for the whole tournament. But he sandwiched that around 266s, so it's hard to say he wasn't playing good golf. He just had one bad round. And then obviously he had 4 really quality rounds at Colonial, just couldn't quite get over the hump. Limited success at River Highlands, so I don't want to say he knows this course like the back of his hand. This other guy, this Will Gordon kid, I mean, kind of like Mackenzie Hughes yesterday, who came out of nowhere and stole money from me on my Rory McIlroy first round leader bet. And by the way, those are my new favorite bets, the first round leader bets.
Yes, I love those.
Love them because you don't worry about the yips on Sunday.
Yes.
It's just go out there and shoot 18 holes. I'm trying to find this kid on the PGA website. I'm really having trouble finding it.
Will Gordon.
I honestly can't find anything on him at River Island, so I don't even know if he's played this course before. But he played it pretty well today. He's 7 under right now through 15, and he's playing the front 9 on the back. They do like the scattered starts, so he's really on, I think, the 7th hole. But he's got 3 holes to go, and he's got a chance to shoot 62 or 61. And if you were going to tell me that Mackenzie Hughes and Will Gordon were going to have the lowest scores of this tournament come the weekend, I would have probably said I'm not going to win much money. But I do think there's some guys hanging around. I would keep a very close eye on Bryson DeChambeau today. That's the name that I was always floating around all week. I love this kid. And he's been playing such good golf and has not been rewarded for it that eventually he's going to put it all together. He's 5 under, starting his round, I believe, in moments. If not, he just teed off. If he goes 65 today and gets to 10 under, I think he's a name to watch this weekend. Another name I would really keep an eye on is Victor Hovland. 63 yesterday, this young kid from Norway, an absolute bomber, shot a 69 today. Probably a little more conservative with his striking today, knowing he was 7 under heading into the round. So he's 3 back. Hovland, I think, is going to be one of those guys that you really take a close look at this weekend. I think Rory's a fade. I just don't buy his finishing skill. To me, that's where I would kind of put him at. And I would say Sergio's another name to keep an eye on this weekend. He's had a ton of success at River Highlands, and he's 6 under. He's keying off in about 30 minutes or so. 64 yesterday. Sergio's always a name to keep an eye on. So if I had to keep the position this weekend, the guys that I have money on already that I'm going to really key in on: DeChambeau, Garcia, Hovland, and I think Patrick Cantlay is a name I would also keep an eye on, making a season debut. 4 under yesterday. He absolutely owns River Highlands. Shot a 59 there a few years ago. He skipped Heritage last week, still recovering from a back injury where he actually had a lot of success at that course last week at RBC at Harbortown, but he decided to skip it to rest up the back another week to gear up for this week at River Highlands where he's had even more success. So Cantley 4 under, well positioned. He tees off at 1 o'clock. So DeChambeau, Sergio, Cantley, Hovland are the 4 I would kind of give you for the weekend.
Can you give me a minute on why the stock market has been so volatile this week and what to expect next week?
I think it's all the virus, Eitan. I just think we thought we had a control of it, and clearly we don't. And the one thing that really stuck out to me, I saw a number today, and I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it's somewhere in the range of 20% decrease in gasoline sales in the state of Texas last week. And that, to me, shows you people are not traveling as much. They don't need as many fill-ups at the tank. That is a really good leading indicator of where we are in the markets right now. I do think we're going to continue to see a dip. Because let's be real, we overshot that recovery by probably about 5 to 10%. And I think we're going to see it kind of drift back to the back. But let's be real, it's the American stock market. We will get some influx of Fed capital at some point that will continue the catalyst and continue the acceleration. But I would tread lightly, and I would have some hedges in place for the next few weeks at least.
Awesome stuff, Jared. Thanks as always. At Jared Lee Smith on Twitter. Check him out on Twitter, and you'll see the 19 jobs that he does. Thanks, brother.
Anytime, Eitan. Have a good weekend, everyone.
You too. Thanks, Jared. And on that note, we'll wrap the show. I had one for the road, but I kind of want to go back to putting Ron on the spot. We didn't really have enough time for our Tony, Jake, or me game show. So we'll play some of that. Maybe we'll sneak in one for the road as we wrap the show next.
Wake up call. So back to baseball.
Doesn't it feel like Groundhog Day?
It does. Every day, same thing.
All right.
Every day there's a little bit of news.
Yeah.
So I bring you a little bit of news. But I feel like I'm on a streak that I don't want to break. I got to bring something to the table about the Major League Baseball negotiations every day. Otherwise, I'll feel like I lost it. The day I don't do it
is the day that we're talking about first pitch.
Yeah, exactly, when they're finally coming back. So Rob Manfred said yesterday there will be 100%. He guarantees there's 100% chance there'll be baseball.
Who's caving?
So how can he be so sure that he's going to do this? To refresh the course, it's so funny. I feel like I've repeated this 1,000 times.
We should just play yesterday and the day before segment.
Take a break. We need a break. You're right. It's like Groundhog's Day, except I'm not getting better at a particular skill. I haven't learned to ice sculpture with the chainsaw yet.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings. Game time decisions.
What's up, everybody? I am Gabriel Morency inviting you. No, I'm not inviting you. I'm telling you. Join me and the Raging Redhead Dad Short weekdays at 6 Eastern as we throw it down on the loudest station in the nation, SB Nation Radio. It's Game Time Decisions with Gabriel Morency and the Raging Redhead Cam Stewart. Weekdays at 6 Eastern on SB Nation Radio. Bring it.
Game Time Decisions with Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart. Weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault.
Tim Brando on Twitter to follow him, joining us on the Progressive Guest Line. People are saying without students on campus, you can't play college football.
We can thank Mark Emmert for opening his mouth and inserting foot. Mark Emmert has no jurisdiction really over college football, but there's a little thing called the 1984 Supreme Court lawsuit won by the Universities of Georgia and Oklahoma that forced the NCAA out of the financial realm of college football. It's like the guy in the California system making this sweeping statement about nothing but online classes later in the year, and he's making the decision with data in May. These guys that just want to see their names in print making bold decisions that they don't have to make, they illustrate what happens with misuse of power. And the real leaders are doing the right things behind the scenes, and then they'll make their splash when the time comes. And I'm telling you, I think that time will be sometime next month.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern on SB Nation Radio.
Wake up call. It's really weird how gambling is now embraced and everyone acts like they never hated it or bothered by it before.
You know what else is getting that same love? Weed.
Yeah.
Weed. Same thing.
For years it was taboo, and now we get to that point like, it's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. Same thing with gambling.
Which my state will legalize it.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of people doing this. Okay, all right, well, you know.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings.
I mean, you can.
Dealing with the
Hey, I really don't have a one for the road, so if you want to
Yeah.
ask some questions,
Yep.
figured
That's
you were
fine.
going to do that instead.
From the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander.
All right, so let's look at this here. We introduced this. This might be a Friday tradition. I mean, I'll do it every day, to be honest with you. I have a stack of these, but this might be at least a new Friday tradition. Tony, Jake, or me. Those are the three answers for Ron Culver. A question I'll throw out. It's okay if he wants to throw some shade at any of the three in answering. That's okay.
See, if you phrase it that way, that makes it kind of bad. I'm not wanting to throw shade on anybody.
No, but I think it's just naturally how you answer the question. Like this.
All right,
Who
fair
will
enough.
win the lottery but lose the ticket?
I'm gonna. I don't know why, but the first person that popped in my mind would have been Jake.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Just because I'm not saying that he's irresponsible,
No.
because he's a very responsible person.
Right.
But it's just a simple fact that, I just had that feeling that he would be the one. Like Tony would hold on to it for sure. I know that.
Yeah, I
But
would.
Tony, I could see Tony losing it as well. I would see that you would immediately.
I wouldn't tell. Nobody would know.
Yeah, you would put it in your downstairs pocket. If you know
Right.
what I mean.
Exactly right. I have a stash pocket for other stuff. All right. Who is the first one found in hide and seek?
Jake.
Why?
Maybe Tony. Tony probably sticks out a little bit more.
Okay. Who is secretly from the
That's
future?
not, and I'm not trying to pick on a weight thing.
No. But his personality. I understand. Who's secretly from the future?
That might be you.
But I stand out too much. Like I'm an obvious choice. Of course, I look like an alien. The real alien is the one who blends in. It's Asman.
Yeah, well, I don't think it has anything to do with blending in. That's an alien thing. But being
That's
from
true.
the future, I think you're ahead of your time.
You're right. You're right. I stand corrected. Nice. All right, man. Have a great weekend.
You too. Do it again on Monday.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you then. Thanks. I'm coming up right now. Okay.